Hey guys, it's me again. I'm going to be now using some of the tools that we just learned about to actually examine our snow pit. Just imagine that instead of a little column of snow castle if you will, we have the back side of a snow pit. This should always be in the shade because that way the sun won't melt it as you're studying it. So first, we start off with our extendo ruler to measure it before we even begin. So we'll take a total depth. And I like to use the ruler as my third hand and actually just stab it into the snow a little bit. That way I don't have to hold it anymore and it takes care of itself. And we're going to imagine that this goes all the way down to the ground level, just like so. So we actually would sweep away and go all the way to the dirt. Next, we get our spatula and a few of our tongue depressors, just like I showed before, and then we cut down to find the layers. And we're just looking for a major change in hardness or consistency. So there's one layer, our first layer. And then it just so happens that this snowpack is color-coded. But if it wasn't, you would still be able to feel that change. And so we have a change between yellow and pink. Then we would continue cutting down. And at that dingy color at the bottom, something weird is happening. And we have a different layer right there. Oops. Sometimes their popsicle sticks will break. Perfect. And now we would mark it all on our snow profile. And now I'm going to fill in on our snow profile, which is just a chart that doesn't have any markings on it quite yet. We're going to be filling out a lot on this graph, so don't get confused and don't get stressed out. It's actually a lot easier than you may think it to be. So it looks like our snow pit is only 13 inches tall or deep. So I'll go ahead and I'll mark out 13 on the side. One. Fortunately, someone has already filled out the necessary information at the very beginning. So before you even start, you should have some of this filled out, like the date, the time, the aspect, again, what direction the snow pit is facing, the location, how steep the slope is, and how high up you are. This is our 0 because it lines up with ground over here. Now you start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And this is our top. So you can just draw a little piece right here. Don't go too far with it, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Now our first layer that we found occurred at 12 and a half. So I'm going to put another mark right here. And don't go too far with it. Again, I'll explain why in just a minute. Our next layer occurred all the way down at 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I just like to put another little number there as a point of reference. I don't fill out the whole side just to keep it from being too cluttered. And then our last layer occurred down at 5. Cool. And if you need to catch up, don't worry, just pause the video for a moment and get your snow profile, which occurs on page number 11, to look just like mine. And you'll notice that we're just following the same steps as on page number 10. Okay, and now on page 12, it explains a few of the different tests that we're going to do. The hardness test is the next one in line, but it's also one of the more confusing ones. So I'll explain it, but also please just look at the picture and it'll help you to understand as well. So hardness, the big ticket is that we push just as hard as each time. So you're going to change the area you use to push. So my fist has a larger area than my 4 fingers, like this. So we use the same amount of force, and that force should be roughly equal to the amount that you can press on the tip of your nose without it hurting. So first, we'll push, and this on the top, it's going to be a little tricky because it's so thin. So I can't use my fist, so I'm going to start with 4. And it's hard. I can't do it with just my 4 fingers. And it's too hard with just 1. So I'm going to use something about the size of a pencil eraser to push. And now I can push through the snow. So I'm going to draw a line all the way over at P to match up with pencil. And now this is where I connect. So come all the way over. Okay. Now the next one, we just do the same thing at each layer. So first fist, and I can't do it. 4 fingers, I can't. 1 finger, I can't. Pencil, a little bit, but not quite. So now I'm going to use something even pointier, and I'm going to call it knife. So the knife went in very, very easily, and pencil just barely started to go in. So I'm going to call it halfway in between. And so I find my 7 line, and I'm going to come over, and I'm going to do something like this.
Okay, and now the same thing at 5. Fist, too hard. 4, too hard. Pencil, too hard. Knife. Yeah, that's okay. So we've got a knife at this layer.